So as you can see from today's title, obviously you can see that we're talking about why I love Olivia Rodrigo's two new songs, well technically one new song and her older song, All I Want and Driver's License. Two main reasons. There's a surface level reason and then there's actually like a deeper level reason, and we're gonna get to the deeper level second, the surface level first. First of all, she's an incredible singer. You know, that's unbelievable. Like very, very, very talented, especially for how young she is. Being a producer myself, you know, the production of both of these songs was very, very well. I really like Driver's License a lot, actually. Like, for example, right off the bat, how it starts with the car sound and then how the piano, and it speeds up, the car sound speeds up to match the piano, and the swells and the synths, like just throughout the vocal production. Everything about the song was very, very, very well done. And then now for her song All I Want, the melodies were incredible. Really, really well done. On a deeper and different level now, part of the reason I actually really, really like these songs, and I actually liked it so much that I did a cover of her song Driver's License. She's 17 years old and she writes from the perspective of a 17-year-old. My wife and I started dating when we were 15 years old. So a lot of these experiences that Olivia is going through and speaking about are experiences that my wife and I have felt. From happiness to heartbreak and everything in between. And listening to these songs and singing these songs brings me to a very nostalgic place, because it's like I remember all the things that she's talking about in these songs, and it brings me back to those times when my wife and I were so young. And it's so interesting because nostalgia is a powerful emotion, because it brings you right back into that moment. It's like, wow, remember that when. And it's so interesting because I relate to a lot of the stuff. I remember the excitement to get our driver's license because we were 15 when we started dating. You know, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, by the way, so that gives you an idea of how old we are. I remember wanting to get our driver's license. Like, I mean, picture this. We just celebrated a 10-year anniversary. We had our first kiss on our first... Actually, watch this. Look at this. You see that over there? That's the movie ticket stubs from our first date and our first kiss. I kept them and framed them and then used them to propose to her like 7 or 8 years later. The point being though, both of those, the first date and the first kiss, were about a month apart. We had to get rides to both of them. You know, like our friend drove us. We went on a double date with an older friend, like a 17 or 18-year-old friend at the time, because he had a license. And then our first kiss, we had our first kiss, and then like 10 minutes later, her dad picked us up. You know what I mean? Because we couldn't drive. So I remember the excitement of wanting that. What's interesting about this is it brings back this nostalgia of like, oh man, all I wanted back then, no pun intended, but all I wanted, you know, was, you know, to get married and to get a house. And she has a really cool line in Driver's License where it's like, I wanted to like drive on your street and call it our home, you know, to call it our home, something like that. And I found, and I remember those feelings, like, you know, wanting to get married and wanting to have a home, and just the emotion, the teenage emotion, you know, and it's just a cool nostalgic feeling. But then it brought this really cool level of gratefulness, because it made me realize like, wow, I wanted all those things, and now 10 years later I have all those things. And it just made me feel really, really grateful. Like, because sometimes we can forget these things, because as life goes on, other problems come up, or you end up wanting other things. But it's funny because the old problems we forget about, but we forget how much we wanted them. And when we have them, we don't even really appreciate it because we're on to the next problem. So this was a really cool experience because it brought back a serious level of it brought back a serious amount of nostalgia and made me realize all the things I used to want, and now realize that I have them now. And it was really a cool experience. So shout out to her. She's an incredible songwriter for the fact that, you know, she was able to influence, you know, a songwriter like that's, you know, significantly, I mean, a couple years older than her. So shout out to her. That's the beauty about music. It can speak to anybody. So but all this to say, I want to share this with you, one, but also maybe, like, you know, it can inspire you, songwriting can inspire you, like to inspire you to look into your own life and be like, oh, you know, I'm grateful for that, or I'm grateful for that, or I realized that's something I could work on, or that's something I could change, or that's the beauty of songwriting. So shout out to Olivia. Very, very, very good song, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you want to check out my music, new music coming out all the time. So thank you guys so much for the support, so much for the channel's growing, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.